Ladies and gentlemen, my esteemed public, I am very happy to see you on my channel. Today we are going to hear a story about adultery and what it can lead to. Greetings, everyone. After lurking around for a few weeks and engaging with numerous posts, I feel it's time for a proper introduction. My story dates back almost 30 years ago, and I am currently 61 years old. This happened in my late 20s, early 30s, when I tied the knot with my college sweetheart. Her strength and independence were some of the traits that initially drew me to her, not to mention her stunning Caribbean beauty. Shortly after our wedding, we moved to the East Coast of the United States to start our new jobs. I worked as an engineer while she pursued a career in chemistry. The initial 4 years of our marriage were, if not perfect, certainly more blissful than most.
As we had no close family or friends, my spouse and I spent a lot of quality time together, which we thoroughly enjoyed. However, our issues began when we decided to purchase a townhouse, and I suggested that starting a family was the next logical step for us. To my shock, this suggestion sent our relationship spiraling downhill. Following several arguments, my ex revealed that it wasn't that she didn't want kids, but rather she didn't want to have them with me. Ouch! She also expressed concerns that having a child with me would mean being entirely tied down to me. She also confessed that she wasn't sure if she wanted to spend the rest of her life with me, and our relationship failed to improve despite numerous discussions. One day she approached me and admitted that she no longer felt attracted to me. I inquired if there was someone else she was drawn to, and she revealed that she had developed
intense feelings for her boss. What I didn't know was that they had developed an infatuation with each other while working together. As she traveled frequently for work, he would accompany her on these trips, and their feelings for each other grew stronger. During one of these trips, their platonic relationship turned physical, and upon returning home, I noticed a significant change in her behavior. She appeared remorseful and suggested that we sell our home and move to a smaller town, where we could lead a quieter life in a cozy little house with a garden. I was taken aback by her sudden change of heart, given that she had previously expressed her lack of love for me and reluctance to have children with me. She then began to recount a lengthy story about how she divulged that her mother, who had experienced marital problems with her first husband, had gone to Mexico for a vacation and had a week-long affair with a local man. Looking back, this should have set off alarm bells in my mind, as it was almost a confession that she had cheated with her boss during their recent trip. However, being younger and more naive, I failed to grasp the gravity of the situation. Following this revelation, things unraveled quickly. She started working late, taking solo weekend trips to the mountains, where I later discovered that her boss owned a cabin. She even took a solo vacation for a week to clear her mind. In the days before cellular phones, I had no way of getting in touch with my wife, and I remember feeling incredibly anxious without any communication from her for an entire week. I had no idea where she was, and all kinds of possibilities raced through my mind, except for the most obvious explanation that she was simply on a solo vacation. Despite my concerns, I supported her by paying for her counseling and driving her to appointments. I even waited for her in the car during her counseling sessions. I believe the individual counseling sessions helped her realize that she was being unfair to me, as she confided that it was her partner who suggested divorce, not her. Despite her internal struggles, I held on to the hope that with the right amount of counseling, she would return to the loving wife I had married. However, her turmoil was evident as she fluctuated between expressing love for me and being unable to stand being around me. I began to notice that she would deliberately try to start arguments with me, citing various reasons why she wasn't happy. She would keep pushing until she found a button to push that would upset me. Her attacks only escalated until I had no choice but to leave the house in search of peace. It was during these times that she would call her lover, as evidenced by phone records. The day my wife asked for a divorce, my world fell apart. Although we were experiencing difficulties, the thought of divorce never crossed my mind. Coming from a Catholic Hispanic culture, divorce was a taboo subject to me. Around that time, I had to travel to another state for a 2-week training. When I returned, she had vanished, taking half of our furniture and savings with her. I had no clue where she had gone, and no one to turn to for support. During that time, there were no social media platforms, online resources, or supportive communities to turn to for help. I felt completely isolated and abandoned, and my mental health plummeted into a deep depression. Dealing with all the drama and stress had taken a toll on me over the previous 18 months, and I had let myself go. I had gained a significant amount of weight and had stopped caring about my health and appearance. Looking back, I realized that we often look the way we feel, and I looked like a mess. My ex had left me without any means of contacting her, leaving me with no return address, the original no contact. In addition to leaving me, my ex made sure to tell all of our friends that the divorce was entirely my fault. As a result, I lost several close friends and was left completely alone. However, I was able to drag myself to work every day and make enough money to keep the lenders at bay. After almost a year of feeling miserable, I woke up one morning and noticed how the shadows slowly moved on the empty walls of my home. It suddenly hit me that if I didn't pull myself out of the pit of despair I was living in, I would soon become another shadow on the wall of an empty room. To give you an idea of how I felt at the time, I had undergone open-heart surgery 5 years prior. The surgeons had cut my chest open, split my sternum, and spread my ribs to access my internal organs. After reconfiguring my organs, they wired my chest and sewed me up, leaving me with 11 titanium wires holding my chest together. It took me 18 months to return to a semblance of normal life. However, I would gladly undergo another open-heart surgery rather than relive the experience of being betrayed and abandoned by my spouse. The experience was brutal, but through the grace of God, I managed to climb out of that well of despair and start rebuilding my life from scratch. I made the decision to completely transform myself. Despite having a good job and a roof over my head, I began to focus on my health and well-being. I started exercising and lost 50 pounds, revamped my wardrobe, ditched my glasses for contacts, and began running. Eventually, I even trained for a marathon. I started rock climbing and playing league volleyball, living a life I could be proud of. I may not be the most good-looking guy, but I've learned to prioritize my happiness and well-being above all else. As I started to exude a sense of confidence, people took notice, and women were drawn to me. Dating became a reality, and I came to the realization that my wife's betrayal was actually a blessing in disguise, because it allowed me to discover my true self. After a few years of living this new life, I began to search for a new partner, which I found in a colleague of mine. We had worked together before my troubles began, and she had witnessed my transformation from a state of decline to one of growth. She was stunning, and even the guards in my building were impressed with her beauty. They were incredulous when I revealed that I was seeing the woman that was known as the most attractive person in the building. Our love grew stronger and we tied the knot. She made the decision to leave her job and devote her time to raising our 4 children. This meant we had to live on a single income, which was challenging given the high cost of living on the East Coast. Despite this, we could not live a lavish lifestyle. However, my wife proved to be an excellent homemaker and an even better mother. She ran triathlons and developed skills in auto maintenance, woodworking, and carpentry, while managing a family of 6. There isn't a home project she won't tackle, and we're currently working on building a camper van together. Our goal is to drive across the U.S. in the camper van we're building. As I approach my retirement this winter, we're eagerly anticipating the arrival of our first grandchild. My wife has shown me the true meaning of strength and independence in a woman, and my life has been greatly enriched because of her. It's a reminder that we never know what the future holds, and we should trust that there are good people out there who are also seeking to share their lives with us. We shouldn't let betrayal define us, especially if reconciliation is not possible. Even if reconciliation is not an option, it doesn't mean that our lives have reached a dead end. You may be curious about what happened to my ex. Well, a few years after she left me, I heard that she began a relationship with her boss, who divorced his wife shortly after her departure. They eventually got married about 15 years ago. Recently, she contacted me out of the blue to inform me of the passing of a mutual friend. During our short and polite conversation, I asked her how she was doing, to which she replied that she admitted to living with the repercussions of her youthful mistakes, but I reassured her that it was all in the past and I didn't dwell on it. With that, I ended the conversation. While her decisions may have led to the end of my marriage, I can honestly say that I am grateful because they ultimately brought my wife and me together. One more thing, as a result of my own failed marriage and attempts at reconciliation, I have spent the last 15 years leading a ministry for the divorced and separated at my Catholic parish. I have worked with countless individuals who have struggled with the aftermath of divorce. I have been able to assist many individuals in finding peace and confidence in moving forward with their lives, all thanks to my ex-wife's decision to not reconcile with me. As an epilogue to my story, I will address a few questions I have received. Did she ever apologize? No, she never even said goodbye. It was as if the years we spent together, including our time as college best friends before dating, meant nothing to her. She never apologized for her actions. Did you ever talk to her again? Yes, she called me out of the blue to inform me of the passing of a mutual friend. We had a brief but cordial conversation, but it was clear that our relationship was in the past. When we purchased a townhouse together, my ex-wife agreed to contribute to the mortgage payments in order to establish a means of communication. However, she developed a strange system of phone calls between mutual friends, where I would have to go through them to reach her, and she would only call me back if she deemed communication necessary. Despite not changing my phone number, we only spoke a handful of times. As for seeing her again, I only saw her 3 times between her abandonment and our final divorce, with the last time being the day our divorce was finalized. This was a couple of years after she left me, and to put it bluntly, she looked terrible. On the day of our final divorce hearing, my ex-wife appeared without makeup and dressed in a hippie style. In contrast, I had lost 50 pounds and was focused on weightlifting at the time. Due to my significant weight loss, all of my clothes were tailored to fit me better, which made me look sharp in the suit and tie I wore to court. The last look my ex-wife gave me while the judge questioned whether I had any objections to the divorce agreement will forever be etched in my memory. It was a look of pure hatred. Perhaps her self-centered mind couldn't grasp the extent to which I had flourished in the absence of her detrimental presence in my life. Friends, I like these stories with a happy ending. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Bye-bye.